Hi everyone, welcome to Michelle and the Money. This is all about your money from consumer to business news in the bi-state and beyond. You know, it's going to be slightly cheaper to borrow money. The Federal Reserve Bank is lowering rates by a 1/4 percentage point. Jen Sullivan looks at what it means for your credit card debt, car loans, and mortgage rates.
Some good news for potential homebuyers. Mortgage rates have begun to dip, which means it costs less to borrow money.
I think there are some consumers who have been priced out.
Lawrence Yoon with the National Association of Realtors says high mortgage rates have shut out many potential buyers, but that's beginning to change.
Buyers are in a better negotiating power.
Wednesday, the Federal Reserve announced a rate cut of a 1/4 percentage point, bringing lending rates down between 4 and 4.25%.
The moderation in growth largely reflects a slowdown in consumer spending. Activity in the housing sector remains weak.
But that doesn't mean mortgage interest rates will automatically drop. As of last week, interest rates for a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage are at 6.35%, according to Freddie Mac. Back in January, rates were higher than 7%. Reducing your interest rate by even just 1 percentage point can save you thousands, depending on how much you pay for your home, according to Rocket Mortgage. But home prices remain high. The latest data shows the median existing home sale price was just over $422,000 in July, according to the Realtors Group.
One can never predict when it will spike, but certainly any crash, that is out of the question given that we have historically low mortgage default rate.
If you are in the market to buy a home, Yoon recommends getting approved for a mortgage now and figuring out your budget. If you're looking to sell your home, attractive landscaping, slight repairs and remodeling go a long way, and price your home competitively. Overpricing could mean your home sits on the market for a while. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
On Friday, Boeing union workers will vote on a contract proposal drawn up by their union. Now, if the contract is agreed on, the union will present it to Boeing. The company is calling the offer a publicity stunt and a waste of time. The union says this contract, though, is what workers want. Right now, workers at the GM plant in Wentzville are facing temporary layoffs. United Auto Workers Local 2250 posted the news on its website saying it is due to an issue with available parts. The layoffs will take place between September 29th and October 19th. It will affect workers on 3 shifts across several departments. Now, 5 on Your Side has reached out to both the union and General Motors for comment. Now, many of us can probably agree that our phones seem to be going off more these days with different types of scams. Michael Yoshida has information about one particular scam that is a growing worry given the state of the economy.
In the first half of 2025, the Federal Trade Commission's data shows more than 235,000 text message scams were reported in the U.S., resulting in $342 million in losses.
It's not hard to look down at your phone when you get a ding of a text message, and scammers bet on that.
Among the many types of these scams, fake job or employment texts.
It might sound really interesting, a great opportunity. They will say things like they're a recruiter from a well-known company.
In Q1 of this year, the FTC says there are about 29,000 reports of job or employment text scams, and it's on the rise. And with an economy where more people may be looking for a side hustle to earn extra cash or even a new job, it can be tempting to reply.
But there's always going to be this ask that you reply with personal information or financial information to pay you. What the scammer really wants is to steal your money or your identity. So just make sure you're not clicking those links and not responding to those text messages.
Other things to remember if you get a suspicious text. Take a pause. You may want to rush to respond so you don't miss the opportunity, but relax. Is it too good to be true? Maybe even show it to a friend and get their opinion. Research the number, have others reported it. Also, see if the company exists and is actually hiring. And if you decide it's a scam, report it. In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida.
Along with clicking the report as scam option on your phone, you can also go to ftc.gov and click the report fraud tab to file a report. We have a consumer alert for Costco shoppers. The Wholesale Club is warning customers about unopened bottles of wine that could shatter without warning. The bottles of Kirkland Signature Prosecco were sold between the end of April and the end of August. Now they have an item number. That item number is 1879870. If you have any of those bottles, do not open them. You are asked to wrap it in paper towels, put it in a plastic bag, and then throw it away. Costco, by the way, is offering full refunds. Automakers could soon be backing away from touchscreens. According to research released last year by What Car magazine, 89% of drivers prefer physical buttons to screens. And studies have found that using a touchscreen while driving actually slows drivers' reaction times more than being under the influence. Volkswagen, Subaru, and Hyundai say that they are working to incorporate physical buttons back into at least some of their models. Well, they are marketed as game changers for weight loss, but GLP-1s can be dangerous if the dose is wrong. Our partners at 11 Alive in Atlanta investigate what happens when patients make a mistake. Calls to poison centers have nearly doubled in just 1 year, and experts tell consumer investigative reporter Lisa Lucas the trend is not likely to stop anytime soon.
Thank you for calling the Georgia Poison Center. My name is Lloyd. How can I help you?
What started as a diabetes treatment has exploded into a weight loss trend. But as more people turn to GLP-1 drugs to get their weight down, Georgia Poison Center is seeing their numbers go up.
It has caused our call volume to skyrocket.
GLP-1s, or glucagon-like peptide 1, are hormones that help regulate blood sugar, appetite, and more. There are synthetic versions of the drug which are FDA approved for treating diabetes, with some for weight loss. Gaylord Lopez is executive director of the center, which is seeing a spike in calls tied to GLP-1s. 129 calls in 2023, nearly doubled last year. This year, already surpassing that. Lopez says trouble often starts with the first dose.
When you're getting single-dose vials of 2 or 3 mLs, we've had a couple of patients inject the entire contents of a vial.
The increase not just in Georgia. Data 11 Alive obtained from the National Poison Data Center, America's Poison Centers, shows nearly 12,000 calls linked to GLP-1s in the last year. Experts say mistakes include taking doses too closely together or taking a higher dose than prescribed. And prior shortages mean some patients turn to online sources or compounding pharmacies to find the medication. Unlike brand name pre-filled pens, Lopez warns some then end up with vials of medication and syringes, leading to errors.
So these are people who maybe didn't get the proper education, who didn't get the right information from the internet health provider, or they were just confused.
The result? Nausea, vomiting, or abdominal pain. Some patients experiencing a change in heart rate or blood sugar. More than 40% of calls end with patients sent to the ER.
The unfortunate thing is we're going to likely see more of these cases.
In fact, while at the call center, a call related to one popular kind of GLP-1 appeared on the call sheet. And Lopez doesn't expect the surge to stop anytime soon.
Look, this stuff has shown to cause significant weight loss, and I think it's only going to get worse before it gets better.
Lisa Lucas, 11 Alive News investigates.
Now, we have reached out to Missouri Poison Control. They report a big jump in cases over the last 4 years. In 2022, there were 58 cases reported. That number nearly tripled in 2023 with 166. Last year, there were 196 cases. Now, so far in 2025, there have already been 188. So the big question is, how can you stay safe? Make sure you're checking your prescription and dose before leaving the pharmacy and before you inject that medication. Use reminders to avoid doubling up on doses. You should also only get GLP-1 drugs from licensed pharmacies, never from an unregulated online seller. And if you've experienced problems with the dosage of your weight loss drug, we do want to hear from you. You can send us an email at newstips@ksdk.com. Well, listen to this. Getting your Target haul delivered to your door will soon have a quicker turnaround time. The company is expanding next-day delivery options to 35 more cities, including St. Louis. The change is expected to happen for most cities by the end of October, but it should be available here by the end of the month. Target says the service is free for orders over $35. Soon you'll be able to add a St. Louis favorite to that Target delivery order as well from anywhere in the country. Target will now start selling frozen Katie's pizzas at stores nationwide. There are 4 varieties available: margarita, pepperoni, meatball, and garlic burrata cheese. Last year, Katie's, by the way, won a nationwide contest to be available in Walmart stores, and Katie's Pizza and Pasta is set to open its 4th location in Crestwood this fall. Not bad. All right, these days more and more people are buying it now and paying for it later. The company Klarna lets people pay off items in a series of fixed interest-free installments over time. And earlier this year, the company paired with Walmart and DoorDash to allow customers to pay off products. Klarna's CEO says customers rarely use buy now, pay later for groceries, but they do use it for those bigger ticket items, taking advantage of 0% interest during the payback period.
It would be a $100 purchase usually on average, and it could be a piece of clothing, it could be a ticket to a concert.
Well, now Klarna wants to be known as more than a place for buy now, pay later. They are expanding, launching a new card, and getting into mobile phone plans. Stay tuned. Consumers are still spending despite persistent fears about the economy, a slowing labor market, and higher tariffs. Spending at U.S. retailers rose just over 0.5% last month. It came in higher than what economists were expecting. Now, this all while U.S. employers are hitting the brakes on hiring in recent months and tariffs starting to push up some prices. Still, consumers haven't really cut back on their spending and might not if layoffs don't surge. And while consumer spending is up, credit scores we know are falling at the fastest pace since the Great Recession. So the national average FICO score dropped by 2 points this year, which is actually the most since 2009. Credit scores are significantly higher than during the Great Recession, but they are down for the 2nd year in a row. FICO also found a growing share of borrowers are falling behind on car loans, credit cards, and personal loans. In fact, younger Americans are getting hit with a double whammy: high student debt and low entry-level hiring. Well, a resale shop in Brentwood is getting ready to shut its doors, but as Mercedes McKay reports, the Miriam Switching Post is not completely closing the door on helping students with learning differences.
The Switching Post has been around for 70 years, and so we stand on the shoulders of the people who have supported the St. Louis community all that time with their time, their talent, and their generosity.
A fixture of the St. Louis community for nearly 7 decades, the Switching Post is so much more than a resale market.
It's a small part of what we do overall to provide financial aid, but it's really important. You know, it's a front-facing community organization that's been around for a long time.
Lifted up by donations and volunteers, all of the shop's profits go directly to financial assistance for families who attend Miriam School, a school for students with learning disabilities.
Because of that, their lives are changed and they're able to have opportunities and doors open for them that would not otherwise exist.
But now that extra help won't be around for some time. Head of Miriam School and Learning Center, Meg Bamford, says the board of directors made the difficult decision to temporarily close the Switching Post.
The cost of continuing to be here and in other places is about 40% increase. And so that's unfortunately just too much for the organization at this moment to sustain.
While it's tough to come to terms with, Bamford says this isn't the end.
The idea is that we just push pause and then we kind of look at what we do and how we do it, try to diminish those overhead costs, find a new location, and then think about how we can more explicitly intertwine our programming with the store.
And with all the love that filled the shop on Hanley Industrial Court, she's hopeful for what the future will bring.
I just really want to express my gratitude to everybody who has been a part of the Switching Post, and we really do look forward to the next chapter of the Switching Post.
The last day to shop here at the Switching Post will be Friday, November 1st, but you can still help out financially by donating to help fund scholarships and the future innovation of what the Switching Post will be. We have that on our website, ksdk.com. In Brentwood, Mercedes McKay, 5 on your side.
All right, well, there are less than 100 days away until Christmas. Can you believe that? If you want to go to the Switching Post, by the way. Are you ready? That's the big question. The U.S. Postal Service says it is ready. It is kicking off Operation Santa right now. The program invites children to write and mail letters to Santa Claus. It connects those letter writers to generous elves who help fulfill all of their Christmas wishes. And then Eckert's announced the return of its Pick Your Own Pumpkin season. We've got so much going on here. The farms in Belleville, Grafton, and Millstadt are open and will open their pumpkin patches on Friday. So the gourds cost 79 cents a pound, plus the cost of a field access pass. Each farm will have different fall fun activities through October. Cannot wait. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks so much for watching Michelle on the Money. For more stories like these, be sure to join me every day on Today in St. Louis starting at 5 a.m. We're going to see you again next weekend right here on the 5 Plus app.